And this morning I'll be talking about finding the sweet rhythm. I love the word sweet, sweets. I'm not talking to babies, but we like sweets. Rhythm for your marriage. That's what I'll be talking about today. I remember there was a time that I was speaking to one man, a top executive in a bank. He works directly with the MD of the bank, and he just got interest in me. And when they invited me to his office, then while I was working, we had to do magazines, so we needed their advert. And I gave him, I think there was a magazine I gave him, and he told me that already, that he's okay. Obviously, he was making money, he's rich, and he is obviously a Christian, and he said he's always on the lookout for any material on marriage and on parenting. And I said, why? He said, all his life, he knows about book, he knows about his business, but marriage and parenting, there are gray areas that he doesn't know anything about. And the truth is, like we all have, we've spent at least 10 years, let me say 6 years, let's say those I even went to either an informal school or formal school to learn a trade or to acquire a skill. We've spent at least 1 year or 2, let me say the least. But when it comes to marriage, there's no school of marriage. As a matter of fact, we get a certificate of marriage before we even started. Say, what kind of thing is this? You get a certificate before you even start the professional course or the master's or the degree. You get a certificate. And little wonder why so many homes are in jeopardy. Little wonder people are struggling. People are struggling. And you know what? There's so many lies out there. So many that are subtle that we have imbibed as the norm. We have imbibed as the standard. We have imbibed as what ought to be. And so if you are single in here, I'll be talking about marriage. Don't shut your mind. Because the best time, many times the best time to prepare is even when you're single. Said a soldier prepares for war in a time of peace. The best time for you to learn about marriage is even now. It's now. Obviously, when you get into marriage, you see the practicalities of some things, but the Holy Spirit will bring into remembrance some things you've learned, and it's not be a struggle between you either do what you've heard or you want to do your will. And so, one of the lies you heard, or that is prevalent, is marriage is for women. We all know that. It's women that carry marriage matter on their head. They'll go to pray. There's so many women programs and very few men programs. Why? Because of the perception that marriage is for women. It's woman that needs the marriage. So a wise woman builds a home. We have also many scriptures. Proverbs 31 woman. In fact, when you read the Proverbs as one woman, you realize that a lot is being said. Someone said, oh, Proverbs as one woman, she did this, she was good in industry, she was good in that. But please, and you can multitask. Please, in there, she said she had maidens that worked with her. So there are so many things that are embedded in that Proverbs 31, and we have believed, oh, marriage is for women. And somehow the attitude is, I'm even helping you by saying this marriage. That's the attitude some men put in the marriage. Am I wrong? No. That's the attitude that I'm helping you in this marriage. Let me help you. And it as if that doing the woman a favor. I'm not shocking you, but I've shocked myself thinking about this message that I believe there's so much more to marriage that I don't even know. During this study, I saw marriage, the responsibility of a man in another dimension. Let's go to Bible, Genesis chapter 2, verse 20 to 25. We'll read that. But I just want to remind you that God created marriage. God instituted marriage before the fall of man, before sin came into the world. It says, He gave names to all the livestock and all the birds of the sky and all the wild animals, but there was no helper just right for him, that is Adam. So the Lord caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. While the man slept, The Lord took out one of the ribs and closed up the opening. Then the Lord made woman from the rib and brought her to the man. At last the man exclaimed, "This is the bone of my bone, the flesh of my flesh. She will be called woman, because she was taken from man." But this explains why a man leaves his father and mother and is joined to his wife, and the two are united into one. Let's stop there. From Genesis 1, God created mankind, that is male and female. Genesis 2, God formed man and brought forth woman out of man. So God created marriage before the fall of man. God created marriage before the fall of man to mirror something: Christ and the church. So all that was lived in between the fall of man and when Christ came was perhaps a shadow of what a marriage should be. You know, when the Bible says in Ephesians 5 that husband, love your wife as Christ loved the church and he gave himself up for her, there's so much. We know that Jesus says, "I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail." Jesus is the head of the church, right? He's the one building the church. He gave apostles for the building of the church. He's the one protecting the church. He's concerned about the church, about the well-being, as if it can't happen. If the church fails, he has failed. Do you get? If the church fails, he has failed. That is, if your wife fails, if your marriage fails, as a man, you have failed. So the marriage, in ideal sense, is more important to man than to woman. If it is truly mirroring Christ and the church, your marriage as a man is more important to you than to your wife. The success of your marriage is more important to you than to your wife. And so, you know, the lies we believe is for woman. In reality, it's for man. And that's why the devil attacks every hope, making the man to wander away, making the man not to lose focus about marriage, thinking, "Oh, is my wife, whatever she does." Oh, and that's why we have so many women leading the homes, because the men are nowhere to be found. The marriage is essentially for man. Because in the first place, man, God created woman to help the man. So the success of your home, you're going to give account. As Christians, we're going to give account of everything we do in the body. If you're not born again, you're not giving an account, because from Scripture is condemnation already. There's nothing about giving account of what you have done in the body. If you are not born again, John 3:16-17, if you are not born again, it's condemnation already. But if you are born again, you're going to give account of how you live your life in the body, how you took care of the resources and everything that's given unto you as a man and woman. So your marriage is important. And you know, when you talk about marriage, God did not create marriage to fail or to be managed. God created marriage to thrive. When God created the birds of the air, what did he say? He said, "This thing is good. This thing is good." How about the marriage? It is also good. God created marriage to thrive, not to be managed, not to do patch, or let's just enjoy this thing, like, you know, the way we carry Christianity in those days. Oh, this road is not an easy road. Marriage is a call to thrive. And so I'll be talking about two things that have some, you know, some other extras on how to sweeten your marriage. And the number one is what the choir talked about: following God. Marriage was made by God. And if a marriage was going to succeed, then you have to follow the plan of God. We all have, when we buy equipment, let's say something new, the usual us is we just take it and we start using it. Oh, this is how we used to use phone. But really, there are more functionalities to so many phones, even to an iPhone, let's give an example, than we know. But we only use it for basic things. Browse, SMS, WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook, WeChat, or whatever. But there are so many things that people can use their phone for. The same thing with marriage. God has a manual for marriage. God has a plan for marriage. And if you want to find the sweet rhythm for your marriage, you need to follow God. Primarily, we are all Christians. And Galatians 2:20 says, "For I have been crucified with Christ Jesus. Nevertheless, I live, yet not I. Yet not I. It is no longer I that live, but Christ that lives in me." And so, our lives must take cues from God. And in every marriage, there are three parties: you, your wife or your spouse, and God. As a matter of fact, the third party is the significant party. That's why the Bible says, do not be unequally yoked. Yes. First of all, talking about do not be unequally yoked to people that are not Christians, and also in your value system. God is a significant third party in your marriage. God is a significant third party in your marriage. And how does it work? You know, there's this love triangle where you have God at the top and the husband and the wife down. The closer they move towards God, the closer they move towards Jesus, the closer they get to themselves. The closer they move towards God, the closer they move towards Jesus, the closer they get to themselves. They understand the rhythm and they walk in alignment. It seems, how do I move? How do I move? How do I follow God? It's all about growing spiritually. If you are conscious of the presence of God in your life, there's a way you talk to your spouse that will bring reverence to God. If you are conscious of that God is with you, there's a way you react or you talk to your wife that you'll be careful of what you say. I remember somebody telling me that I counseled her, and it had to do with someone. I counseled her and said, normally, she's the type that doesn't take nonsense. And so when the person wanted to talk to her, I told her what to do, that this is how you should talk, this is how you should behave. The person was infuriating her the more, but she said when she wanted to speak, she just saw my face like this, like I was looking at her, say it. And, she just had to caution herself and now talk. That, Pastor B will not like this. Let me just talk. Now, if we see God always in front of us when we want to talk to our spouse, perhaps we'll have better homes. Perhaps men, the usual complaint I hear is, this man is either the grievous one, either he beats or he flirts around. Anything scared he wants to touch. Perhaps they will be more conscious about it. That God is watching me. I know the truth. God is a significant part of your marriage. Philippians 1:6 says that the communication of your faith might be effectual by the acknowledgement of every good thing that is in you. There's a part of acknowledging God is in you, but if you don't acknowledge His presence, if you do not acknowledge the power of God in you, you'll just be like a mere man. And so in your marriage, you must always acknowledge God, following God, that God is in me. When people treat their spouse somehow, it aches my heart. I have so many stories, but at times I'm careful on which story to say. It takes my heart because you are not taking the person the way God, if God was there, you will take the person. People that slap their wives, imagine God is there. You are conscious that God is there. Would you dare? You will not. Or you're talking bad about, or you're nagging your husband, or you're giving him problem. Will you? No. And so following God, growing spiritually is very key to you finding your rhythm in marriage. So But growing spiritually is not speaking in tongues. It's not just speaking in tongues. The Bible says, "This sign shall follow them that believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They shall heal the sick. They shall speak in other tongues." Any new believer can speak in tongues. Growing spiritually is manifesting the fruit of the Spirit. You are walking in love. You are at peace. You suffer long. You are patient. When they give you, if you see, or you are familiar with this orange fruit. The orange fruit, golden outside, but by the time you peel it, at times there is no water, there is roughage. And you're almost like, what is this? What fruit are you exhibiting in your marriage? When you grow spiritually, you are walking in love, you are patient with your spouse, you are exercising the fruit of the Spirit. See, your marriage will be naturally sweet. Because it's not about how the person says it, but how you respond. Even when you are angered, you know you are walking in the Spirit and you are calm about it. Walking in the Spirit. Also, we're talking about following God in terms of our resources. Last week, we talked about, we had a discussion and some things came up. And let me ask, what do you have that you have not received from the Lord? As man, as woman, what do you have that you have not received from the Lord? That is that thing that you think your spouse should not have. Following God, you'll be accountable. When you follow God, when you are growing spiritually, there's an attitude you take towards material resources. You know it is not for me. It is God that gave me. And so there's no attachment to it that, oh, it's my house. Oh, it's my car. Oh, it's my... that there are some men that you can't touch their car. You have to take permission. In fact, you have to write letter to use their car that, please, on this day, please, release your car. By the time you put please, you dare touch it, or the child, even your own children, say, go near it. Hell will let loose. What do you have that you have not received from the Lord? It all stems in following God. That you do not hold things to heart. You do not hold things to heart. And you know what? When you are exhibiting all these things, when you are following God, exhibiting the fruit of the Spirit, it helps you and wife to be in a better flow, a better synchronization. Galatians 5:22 says, since we live in the Spirit, let us also follow the Spirit leading in all parts of our lives. The significant other party of our marriage, God, is very important because we are first Christians. Oftentimes, we've likened marriage, we've explained marriage from emotional point of view, psychological point of view, philosophical point of view. But really, marriage is a spiritual thing. And so you must learn to follow God. You must learn to walk in the Spirit and allow God to take preeminence in our marriage. When we acknowledge Him, when we follow Him, see, it will be easy to walk in better rhythm. Your marriage will be sweet. When you say, oh, sex. Sexual rhythm does not solve all marriage problems. Financial rhythm does not follow all marriage problems. No, it does not. What about if you have all the money, you work better, and the problem is having a child? But having a spiritual rhythm will set things in place for your marriage. And this is not just for the wife. The men too should grow. The wife should grow, walk in the Spirit. Follow God. Walk in love. Be patient. It's not every time that something happens that you carry it on your head and your mood is swinging. And when your mood is swinging, you have the tendency to nag or to be easily irritated. But please follow God. I would like to act a drama just to buttress something. Dayo, please come. I need the male. Sorry. Raphael. Yes. And Chinanu. Let's come. Sorry, let me quickly say something. It's going to play music. And the two of you, you're going to sing a song. You're going to sing a song. Yes, please stand up. Please put your hands together for them. Thank you. Now, let's imagine that this is God. These are couples. Imagine. They're not couples. Sorry, no. We're just imagining, for example. Perhaps I should take a man. Will it be okay if I take a man? Yeah. Okay. So you have a rhythm in your mind. You have a song in your mind. And Dio is going to play a song. Don't tell each other what you're going to sing. Just start singing. Dio plays a song. And we imagine that Dio is God. And these are the two that should work. Please, at the count, you just start singing and you dance. Any song. Any song. Any song. Any song. 1, 2, go. We can't hear you. What are you singing? It's shy. Okay. She's singing Jehovah Will Praise You. And the typical men that we have in these days, they are just not doing anything. Please put your hands together for them and go back to your seats. Now, in marriage, if the parties are not listening to God, they won't be in good synchronization. They will not have a good rhythm. If the two parties involved in marriage are not listening to God, they're just doing their own thing. They're just doing their own thing. And that is the age where we are, the age of self. The Bible says in the last days, men will be lovers of themselves. It's about what I want. It's about my preferences. This is the way I want it to be. I'm the man of the house. I'm the woman of the house. You must respect me. They won't be in proper sync. When they're not listening to God, you can see he's singing, and typical man, even if he was singing, it will never be Jehovah Will Praise You. It will never be. And you know what? That is what we find in most homes today. We are doing our own different things. It's about what I want. It's about, they don't talk to me like, they don't do this to me. It's about ourselves. It says, I've been crucified with Jesus. Nevertheless, I live. It's no longer about you or about your wife or about the man or about the woman, but it's about God. It's about God. And so it's not about dancing to your own tune, but dancing to the tune of the Spirit. It says, if we live in the Spirit, so let us also follow the leading of the Spirit in everything that concerns our life. Let us also follow the leading of the Spirit in everything that pertains to our life. So it's about what I want, the way my father has passed the tune to me, the way they model a home. See, when you follow God, you see that your marriage is even different from your parents. You see that your marriage is different from people around you. You just know this is speculative. You can't even explain it. And that's what finding the rhythm for your marriage. Following God, allowing God to take preeminence over your marriage. It's not about you. It's about God. Because God is the one that instituted marriage. It's not about you, but about God finding the rhythm for your marriage. Like I said, sex has been overrated. Sex is good. Sex is very good. But you know, when you find your rhythm as spiritual beings that you really are, it will not be an issue. You will know that as a woman, you yield. It's not about me. This is the way I want it. There's a commandment and an injunction from the scripture. There's an injunction from the scripture in working with your wife. in working with your wife. And the next point, which also flows with this little drama they acted, is tending to your garden. Tending to your garden. How do you do it? Watering your garden with communication. That's why at times, when they acted the drama, perhaps if both have the same song and they dance it, they will dance together, but they won't be in alignment to the person playing the keyboard. That's why you find some marriages, say, oh, they're not Christians, but they have good marriages. Why? Because they're dancing to the same tune. And that's what communication does. Say, oh, men do not like to communicate. They're just people of few words. And women, they can talk from morning till night. Oh, we like to talk. We like to say everything that is bothering us. See, communication helps you to be in tune with one another. We cannot rule out God because we are false Christians. We cannot rule out spiritual growth because we are false Christians. But you know what? Communication will help both parties to be in tune. And you see people that, they have great marriages. Oh, they're not Christians, they have great marriages. One, because they understand this rhythm. They understand this important factor of being in tune with one another. But the only thing is, anything can happen and it's scattered. They don't have an anchor for their soul. They don't have an anchor for their soul. So communication is key. Communication, verbal, non-verbal, is very key. Say, oh, I love my wife. Oh, I respect my husband. But you see, love, care, respect, that is not communicated is of no use. That is not communicated is of no use. So, oh, I esteem. That times you say, oh, now social media has created a fake life where some couples is on the social media, they commend themselves, they praise themselves, they talk about, oh, you are the moon, but at home, it's a tug of war. Yes, it's a tug of war. And it's almost like, this is hypocrisy. Love, care, all those ingredients that help marriage, if not communicated, is of no use. So communication is a life wire. As a matter of fact, sex is also communication. And so you must communicate. Whichever way you want to find a rhythm, whichever way you can suit your communication, you must communicate. You must communicate. Verbal communication, non-verbal cues. We talk about understanding your spouse. In fact, this month series has been so fantastic. We talk about understanding your spouse. We talk about infidelity, sexual and physical abuse. We spoke about a whole lot of things. Please get the CDs. Get the CDs. Understanding your spouse will help you to know if your wife or your husband is having verbal communication, communicating something to you. Now, at times you talk to a woman, what's wrong with you? Nothing. What's wrong with you? Nothing. And the entire body or mood is saying something else. You know that there is something. You can choose to ignore, and you can choose to inquire. That doesn't mean that the woman too should take it, nothing, and start reacting. No. You must understand your spouse. Please get the CD on understand your spouse. It will help you in this. You must communicate. I know there's this thing I use for communication. You turn off, you turn in, and you tune in. In communication, you turn off, you turn in, and you tune in. Turn off distractions. You can be here and your body is not here. That is, your body is there. You have not turned off communication. Some it could be family issues, they carry it into their family, and when they want to communicate, they are communicating with that lens. or somebody offended them, or somebody said, or they experienced, I've seen situations where something happened to another couple and you're analyzing your spouse from that aspect. You have not turned off the distractions. You have not turned off distractions, and you turn in. Be only present when you are communicating. And tune into the frequency of your spouse. Tune into the frequency of your spouse. You turn off distractions. You water your garden with communication. Another point in tending to your garden is you prune your garden. See, don't let weeds grow. Even if you have a fantastic marriage, pay attention to your marriage. Pay attention to your marriage. Don't let weeds grow. Don't let weeds grow. Matthew 13:25 talks about, a parable that while they slept, the devil sowed tares, that is weeds, and it grew with the crops. Oftentimes, when we neglect our home, when we are not paying attention at the frequency we started out with, weeds will grow. And within a space of time, it's like, what happened? What happened? What happened? And how do weeds grow? When you take each other for granted. See finish syndrome. When you have that, you will not, it reduces the level at which you flow in a good reading. Is it not this one? I know you. Is it not this one? What else? What is the new thing? Your spouse will shock you, not because your spouse wants to shock you, but because your spouse too is on a path of self-discovery. Oftentimes, so people change. No, something happened. Everyone is on a path of self-discovery. We are discovering new things about ourselves. And so don't think you are the only one, and so your wife should not, or your spouse or your husband should not discover. Don't take each other for granted. See, I've been married for 50 years. What else? Please, read, study. Study. Also, unresolved arguments, unresolved sentiments, unresolved issues that you have not resolved. You might, oftentimes, probably the man will use his force. Now, it's no longer about which gender, because these days, there are some characteristics that used to be peculiar to men, some women have it. So when I say your spouse, please, whichever it follows, men can't be put in a box, or women can be put in a box that a woman, she's always doing like this. Some women, they're the boss of their home. Yes, some men are the boss of their home. This is what I want. And the man, for peace sake, let's just do. So, unresolved. When a party uses force to sweep things under the carpet, this is it, it's final. You don't want to talk about it, it's final. So whether the man or the woman, and the issue is burning. The issue is burning. Please take attention to it. Let me give an example. If your spouse is saying something about a particular person that you are close to, there's some people that say, the woman in my office, she understands me better than my wife. We don't say it out, but we have it in our mind. You don't even understand me. And when a man or a woman is beginning to tell our spouse that you don't understand me, please ask, who understands you? Really, who understands you? Because if nobody understands you, then okay, so please explain yourself. But if there's somebody that understands you better than your spouse, let's talk. When your spouse is mentioning this, I don't like the way you do with your siblings. I don't like the way you do with this. I don't like the way you do with this. Say, it doesn't matter. It's my own family. Please, look at it again. I don't like the way you are handling money. Look at it again. Don't allow these unresolved issues to fester for too long. For too long. The commonest ones is, you're very close to someone. But there are other issues, like the way we handle money, the way you deal with work. Probably is a lazy man, so you're not hardworking. And do this. Please pay attention to what your spouse is talking about. And like the example I gave, please, nobody should understand you better than your wife. That means you have taken the rhythm outside your marriage. You've taken the rhythm outside your marriage. Nobody should understand you better than your spouse. I'm not saying you cannot have friends. Yes, you need to have friends. But when it's getting to the point that I'm comfortable at work and at home, they understand me before I say A, he has said B. My colleague would have said B. You just be thinking, you're not smart, you're not. Then you are breaking the flow of the rhythm in your marriage. You are breaking the flow of the rhythm in your marriage. It could even be distractions from friends. So I've been with my friends, I've been with my gang for this long. You can't take me away from them. I'm not saying you cannot relate with your friends, but please, when it's affecting your marriage, pay attention to all those unresolved things because they are weeds. And if you allow it to grow, it will take you further away. There's this adage in Yoruba that I will say it in English, that if there's no crack in the wall, a lizard will not enter in. If there are no issues in the home, no side chick or no side man will come in. It's not about side chick again. I hope you know. It's not about side chick. No side man will come. So when there are issues in the home, there's any small thing like this, side chick upon side chick, side man upon, and it's dangerous. The side man is dangerous. No side chick is when there are cracks in the home. So what are the things causing, and oftentimes we want to attack the side chick, is the side man, is the side chick, is the side man. What caused the crack? Are the weeds grown that is now breaking your wall? Please, take all the weeds out. Take all the weeds out. Take all the weeds out. Another point in tending to your garden is fertilize your garden. If you've all planted, you are used to this. When you water it, your plants will grow. When you take out the weeds, Pastor Day, is flowing with me. Your plant has space to grow. Then you fertilize it with what? With praise. You fertilize your garden with praise. With praise. Bless. Praise is to bless. To magnify. To magnify. And how do you magnify? It's like fertilizing. You magnify what is inside the soil by acknowledging the good things that is in your spouse. Many a times we are quick to pointing out the things that our spouse have not done well. We can list them out. But have you taken our time to look at the good things that are in our spouse that maybe we've taken for granted? If you are the one that is your wife will give you the money she earns, she takes, she wants your well-being, and you say, she's not that attractive. This one is this. Marry, get the attractive one. You now see how that one will finish that. You don't even have money, See, look at your spouse. Look at the good points in your spouse's life. And always appreciate your spouse. Magnify our strength. Many women have suffered from emotional abuse. Why? Most often in the few early years of marriage. Because that's when they have frictions. And when you see a man always talking down the wife, talking down, she might be very good, but because the man she's used to hearing this, so come and do this. I can't do. You see her timid, and you're almost like, where did the strong person that are married went to? What attracted you in the first place? Where did he go to? Magnify the strength of your wife. You are not blind when you married your spouse. You saw some things. Even perhaps if it was sex that changed you, there are some good things that you can see. And some, we all came from different backgrounds. Magnify the strength of your wife. Whatever you do not compliment, you will murmur and grumble. Whatever you do not compliment, you will murmur and grumble. And you know what? Murmuring is a sin. It's a sin against God. It's a sin against God. Murmuring, complaining, that's why you see women nag. You know, I just wanted to act a Yoruba attitude out. Olori bobu, whatever. Like, Whatever you do not compliment, you will complain about. So if you are used to always complaining, you may not know that you are complaining. Oftentimes, at times, people don't know they are complaining. People don't know because they don't appraise themselves. They don't appraise what they are saying. I just said my mind. But look at it. If in your own conversation, it's complain. The next time you say, hey, come, hey, he has come again, no, I beg. So what do you have to say? You know, and oftentimes, when you see that you said something, your wife is ready for an answer for you, something is wrong. When your spouse, your husband, or your wife, you know, you say something in a corrective way and is ready to defend, like as if you are in a war, then perhaps you are complaining too much. Nobody, even children, they don't like it. So you compliment and don't focus on the 20% that is not good. Say, this is not this, is not that, is not that. And you say, oh, this person now there has it. You will be shocked. That person just have, your wife has 80%. Probably the person has 50% that is good. And that's what you are seeing because the person has 20% that your wife does not have with the person's 30%. And that's 50%. As short. Let me use trade language. You know, focus on the good things about you. That doesn't mean that you will not talk about the things that are wrong. Yes, you talk. That's part of communication. And in communication, you don't seek to destroy when you are communicating. You seek to build. When you are communicating, like, I feel, we talked about this last week. You want to raise an issue. I think, not that you're always doing this. You know, when you are using I and you, if you want to build and win your spouse over, there's an attitude you will have. Like you want to talk to your wife, let's do this. There's a way you will psych her up, you know, like prepare her mind, this is coming. Somebody's nodding and smile at the back. You know, there's a way you will psych her up, like do this. And by the time you paint the picture, there's no objection, yes. In that same thing, you can say the person will say no. So even in your arguments, seek to build. That's about communication. And you know, when you fertilize your garden with praise, you help yourself from this, the grass is greener on the other side syndrome. It was talked, I think, during understanding your spouse, that people have alternatives in their mind. The grass is greener on the other side. This one is better on the other side. Do you even know if it is plastic grass? Plastic or carpet grass? Do you know? The grass is greener on the other side. Because when you don't compliment, when you don't give praise, talk about the good things about your spouse, others will look better. That's where we see people envying people's marriages, that, this person's marriage is better. I wish. And the wishes will never come. The wishes will never come. Tend to your own garden. Take care of your own garden. Take care of your own garden to have that rhythm, that sweet rhythm for your marriage. Take care of your own garden. And you know, regardless of how you start, regardless of the problems that has festered in your homes, regardless of how bad the situation is right now, you can have a better ending. You can always have a better ending when you allow God. I said it earlier, God is the one that instituted marriage, and for you to have a sweet rhythm for your marriage, please, you must always acknowledge God. You must always follow God. You grow. No matter where you are, no matter how bad the marriage could be. And that means you must be willing to let go of your pride and ego. I said it, that marriage is not dancing to your own tune, but rather to the tune of the Spirit. If you live in the Spirit, let us also walk in the Spirit. Marriage is about dancing to the tune of God, not about what you think should be or what you want. Not about yourself, but about God. And so, no matter where it is, how bad your marriage is, or how terrible situations of life has festered into your marriage, let's even say it has broken down completely. It can change for the better. You can allow God to help you to build your home. There's a woman that I know, she was separated from her husband for several years. The man left. The man did injustice to her. And several years after, up until the point she said, I want my husband back. And she allowed God. She prayed. She was one that was wronged. See, she prayed about it. It became a prayer point in her life. The man came back to her. And you know what? While she was praying, those years they were apart, the Lord worked on the man. Oftentimes when things are done wrongly to us, there's this natural tendency to fight back, to do tit for tat, to retaliate, I will show you. There's that natural tendency to always I will do back, I will do this. But you see, when you allow God, God will fight your battle, not just that. God will change your spouse, even better than you ever imagined. Regardless of how bad it is, God is the one that restores all. He did not create marriage to fail. He created marriage for his own glory, to thrive. So regardless of how bad your marriage could be, see, when you let go of yourself, your ego, your pride, and you did this to me, I was one that did this, you have 1,001 reasons to be angry. Yes, you can have it. But if you allow God, that means you will throw your reasons aside. You will throw your reasons aside and you will allow God. Let me share a story. I think I've shared it here before. There was this man that he and his wife said the story. Along the line, they've been having good marriage, and somehow the wife derailed. When I said, tend to your garden, take care of weeds, the wife derailed, and they are Americans. The wife derailed and had an affair. She slept with someone, and unfortunately, she's white. She had an affair with Brazilians. They're not pure whites. The Brazilian that he had an affair was even a colored one. She got pregnant while in the home. And, a Christian, she confessed to her husband that this is what happened, this. And so when she said it, she was expecting this is the end of the marriage. The man cried. They had 3 kids then, 3 boys. The man cried. He left the home and sought for counsel. The pastor he went to meet could not provide an answer. Obviously, it's a tough one. He could not provide an answer, but the man just told him that, as a Christian, what would Jesus do? if Jesus was in this situation. That's what the man could tell him. The man did not have an answer for him. So he went on, breathed about it. The wife was pregnant, carrying a colored man's baby. They are white, all their children are white. And so, God inspired in his heart about Christ and the church. That Jesus cannot cast away the church. It's his own. His responsibility is to build the church. The church is dependent on Jesus. If it was to mirror Christ and the church, not what the law says, that, oh, when the wife does this and do that. But if it's to mirror Christ and the church, this is it. And he said, okay. He went to his wife, told her, verbally, I have forgiven you. But you know those matters, it's deep within the heart. The wife obviously did not forgive herself. She was just a shadow of herself. And they had to tell the children. So when you're going to disclose, foreigners now, anything, oh, your mom is pregnant, or baby shower, pop the balloon, the way they do the things that we are copying now. Yes, that's what When he was going to tell the children, he said he took a white cloth and he covered the wife. The children were like, Dad, what's wrong? He said, okay. Your mom is having another child. He did not say I. How can you see the mom? Say, okay, we're having another baby. So that's fine. But this baby is not like you. So really? Say yes. And he said, why did you do that? He says, Christ is a covering for the church. That I cover our shame. I cover our shame. So it took years for them to actually forgive themselves, but really, they took the decision that they would rather walk. They gave birth, obviously, to a colored baby. The man took the baby as his child, and they are together. Some marriages have not experienced this, but they are out. It's even bad, it's the wife that did it, right? In Nigeria, it's no go area. Hey God. Never. The man had the option. Don't say, oh, there are foreigners, they could walk away. No, the man had the option. But he said, I'd rather be like Jesus, who is the head of the church, covering the weakness of my wife. See, I will say it again. A man has huge responsibility towards marriage. Please, before you marry, come for counseling. Go for marital counseling. Read books. Learn about marriage, because a whole lot is hinged upon you. There's a statistic I saw over the week. It said if the chances of the family being saved, if the man is saved, is like 97% or 93%. If it's the wife, they said 17, and if it's the children, 13. That is, you have a role. But the devil has lied to us many times. That is the women that should hold the home. Men, hold your home. To find your rhythm, your sweet rhythm, you must learn to follow God. Follow the leading of the Spirit. Allow the Spirit to walk through you. It's not I, but God is here. In my house, God is always in front of me, and I'm careful of the way I treat my spouse. In the car, when we are coming to church, rather for me to say this, God is there. Always see God's face when you want to talk to your spouse. Perhaps we'll have a better home.